AM morning show for Wednesday, June 18th. I'm Ken Lundberg, welcoming to the studio two great individuals. Larry Wozniak. Did I get that right this time, Larry?
That's great.
All right, Larry Wozniak. He's the president emeritus, right? It's on your website as president emeritus.
That should be. What does the emeritus mean?
The past president.
No, I'm a president.
Okay.
President emeritus.
I thought you got demoted since the last time you were here. No. Okay, so president of Lest We Forget, and Walt Sawyer is here. He's a retired Army colonel, which means you outrank Larry. Is that correct?
Yeah, but only in only in the rank. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Well,
he is the president of the organization.
Thank you, individuals, for coming in today. Larry, you ready? You've got a big event coming up this week.
We do. It's Saturday and Sunday this weekend, so we got a lot going on.
It's titled "The Sandbox Wars," talking about the Gulf War, the Iraq, what we've done with Iraq, what we've done with Afghanistan, and as I was mentioning as you were coming into the studios, it couldn't come at a more poignant time. I mean, because we're seeing on the news, it changed by the minute of what's happening between Israel and Iran, and who knows what U.S. involvement there is right now, or what's coming. So
that's right.
I mean, is this part of the reason why you hold these events?
Definitely, the public needs to know and remember what our military has done over the years, and current events. He always plays a good part of that. So
yeah, okay, all right. What are we going to be talking about this morning? You've brought retired Army Colonel Walt Sawyer in. What are you going to be talking about this morning, sir?
Well, again, my time in the military, my biggest event, of course, was spending time in Afghanistan. I spent a year there, it's quite an experience, that's for sure. Anytime you get into the Middle East has its different cultures, its different peoples, it's what have you. But as a logistician, which is what I was brought up as in the military, Afghanistan posed probably some of the biggest challenges we had, and one of them was movement, getting around. I mean, this is not, St. Joe, Benton Harbor, or the roads are, granted, yeah, we have some problems with our roads, but over there were no roads in a lot of places. So just getting things moved and getting them around was our biggest challenge.
Okay. All right. We appreciate you sharing your information. So we'll look forward to those stories here this hour during the WSJM morning show. We've got Lest We Forget here. They have the Sandbox Wars happening this Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be on the banks of the St. Joseph River, and we'll ask Larry to walk through the entire program of what's going to be happening, some of the information that you can expect to gain from there, and some of the events. Oh, you got the pancake breakfast in the morning.
That's right.
I see that.
Lions Club.
Even with my eyes, I can see that. Okay. So we'll talk about those stories and more. That's coming up here in just a moment, right on the WSJM morning show. If you have any questions or thoughts about Lest We Forget or the events that they have going on, not only this week, they're not just reenactors. They have, I was looking at your website again this week, and I see you've got a whole list of other things that you engage in all year long.
That's right.
All year long. And so people can get involved with Lest We Forget. And the easiest way to get more information about it is just go to your website, right?
That's correct.
Okay. LestWeForgetUSA.org.
Correct.
See, I did my research this morning, Larry.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, you bet. All right, 7:04, back with news, sports, and weather in just a moment. Plus, Lest We Forget on the WSJM Morning Show.
For Americans, will no longer recommend limiting alcohol to 1 or 2 drinks a day, depending on gender. It will instead suggest that we simply drink in moderation. Well, Canada has adopted a more cautious approach, warning that health risks begin to increase after 2 drinks per week. I'm Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Look at that. That is great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Here in the studio with me, I've got some great individuals from Lest We Forget. And one of them, Walt Sawyer, just handed me a T-shirt of the Sandbox Wars, honoring all veterans of the Sandbox Wars, the Gulf Wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, and they've got the Lest We Forget event happening this weekend in St. Joseph. It's happening Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to talk all about everything that you can see there. I love that. That looks good. I like that everything is represented here, all the different branches of the military services. So anyway, I'll ask you, we've even got Space Force on there. That's good stuff. Okay.
I don't think they were there, but
Yeah, no, Space Force. Yeah, but the seeds were there. The seeds were there of what we were going to need. So thank you for that. We'll be talking with Larry Wozniak and Walt Sawyer here in just a moment about the Lest We Forget event that's happening this weekend, honoring all veterans, Sandbox Wars, in just a moment here on the WSJM Morning Show. It's currently 69 degrees in Benton Harbor, muggy and humid out there. It's St. Joseph 69, South Haven 68. If you love summer, this is your week. Today's forecast, partly to mostly cloudy, a 70% chance of showers and storms, and maybe some severe storms this afternoon. I already saw the lightning cooking up north of us earlier this morning. It looks like it's calmed down for a little bit, but this afternoon, sometime after 3 o'clock, we could get some severe storms, so stay tuned for that. The high today around 83. It'll be probably around 80 by the lakeshore. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting to 30. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, a 50% chance of showers remaining and a few storms. Low overnight around 64. And then Thursday, partly cloudy, a 20% chance of morning showers, a high around 80. And north winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. As we head toward the weekend, Friday, the high is going to be 85. Saturday, it's going to be 90. On Sunday, it's going to be even warmer, 93, and then 94 degrees for a high on Monday and Tuesday. You've got good weather coming up for the Lest We Forget event.
It's Sandbox weather, that's for sure.
It's definitely going to be Sandbox weather. And so dress accordingly and maybe think about some sunscreen, because both Saturday and Sunday, hot and humid. Hot and humid. All right, we'll be back to talk about Lest We Forget in just a moment. First off, let's get some of the news that we have in the WSJM newsroom this morning. A project several years in the making is nearly finished at the Whirlpool Compass Fountain in St. Joseph. City Public Works Director Greg Grothaus tells us that the improvement project goes back as far as 8 years, when a park master plan identified several needs for improvements at the fountain.
Some of the things that we heard loud and clear were restrooms changing, shade. Those were the two loudest things that we heard, and our takeaway from that.
Work to secure grants and make those improvements began in earnest about 3 years ago, and after multiple delays and cost increases, Grothaus says he's hoping the new restrooms can be opened this weekend. They're family-style restrooms, meaning they're unisex, and Grothaus says other new additions can also be seen at the fountain.
We have shade structures around the pad, so there's 4 shade structures, and then we also have a shade structure up by the building as well for some additional shade up by the restroom building. We also included some foot wash stations out on the west side of the fountain.
Grothaus says the city really hopes people use the foot washing stations because sand getting into the fountain's filtration system is causing some big maintenance issues. The project's total cost was around $700,000, with $345,000 of that from a grant and $100,000 as an anonymous donation. Grothaus notes they did have to scale back some of the initial plans because of post-COVID cost increases, but he says the city is pretty satisfied with what's been accomplished so far to make the fountain a more comfortable place for families. The city of Hartford is highlighting work underway to rebuild its police department after it was nearly disbanded last year. In the past 5 months, the city hired a new administrative chief to get the department back on track. Chief Brian Matthews tells us that's starting to happen in several priority areas.
Everything from just doing the basic stuff of getting a brand new mission statement, hiring qualified applicants to actually be police officers in the city of Hartford, try and update our equipment, make sure our facility looks clean and orderly.
And making sure the police officers look professional is another goal as Matthews seeks to update their uniforms. As of now, the Hartford Police Department has 4 officers following the recent hiring of 2 new full-time employees. And Matthews says the plan is to expand even more.
We're actually working on a thing called a COPS grant, which is a grant through the federal government where it actually supports the actual funding of training, hiring, and payment of a full-time police officer.
Matthews says the department is updating its technology, equipment, and training. He tells us he's had full support from the city council and city manager and appreciates that. A long-term goal is to offer full-service police protection 24/7. Hartford City Council last summer scheduled a meeting to consider disbanding the Hartford Police Department, but that led to public outcry, and that meeting was canceled. They're also overcoming a time when the former chief pleaded guilty to drug charges. Matthews says since he came on board, he's found a lot of support from residents who want to have Hartford have a full-time police department in that community. And finally, a full-time community recreation director could soon be hired in South Haven following a vote of the city council this week. Speaking at this week's meeting, city manager Kate Hosier said the city and South Haven public schools have found it difficult to find a recreation director because the current job is only offered at part-time with no benefits.
We've talked with the school and the Charter Township and the Shara folks, and they're recommending that we go to a full-time position. This does not change the city's $90,000 that we've already committed to that. Any overages for this position would be covered by Shara.
Suggesting the position be converted to full-time, Hosier said the thought is that if the position is more attractive, then good candidates will be found. Councilmember Mary Hosley had issue with the proposal.
I would like to know exactly what the pay and the whole benefit package would be for this full-time rec. I think we owe it to our taxpayers to be transparent so that we know how our rec millage is being spent.
Hosier said she couldn't say exactly what the pay for the position will be, but she knows it's something like around $65,000 a year. Either way, she said the $90,000 contributed by the city for the position is all it would have to contribute. In the end, the council vote to support the hire was unanimous. That's a look at some of the news that we're covering from the WSJM newsroom today. We have more to talk about, including Lest We Forget. We're going to begin that conversation right now on the video live stream. Come back on the radio here after sports and a couple of messages. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Javier Baez.
All right. Thanks again for joining us on the video live stream. It is the WSJM Morning Show. And our guests this morning, lest we forget, and you brought me a gift. Thank you very much. You see I'm wearing the pin?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
They have a great pin, and it has an American flag on it, U.S. flag, and it says, lest we forget. But then I'm looking at can people buy these shirts as well? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we have never really done T-shirts in the past until last year when we had the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and somebody had the idea of doing a event shirt. So it went well. So we thought we'd do it again this year. So Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm is a big event that we're putting on this year, and the T-shirt is really helping to help promote that area and give people remember their event.
Yeah, the back of the shirt, you can't see it very well because the camouflage and the black. But it says over 1.9 million deployed during conflicts in the Gulf, Afghanistan, and Iraq. 7,244 men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice. And you've got a map of the Middle East, and right there, right dead center in the middle of the Middle East is Iran. And I mean, you think this morning it really struck me as, we've been talking about this for millennia. Right, as
that's right,
as humans, and still the fighting continues. What are your thoughts as you see what's happening right now with Iran and Israel? Either of you?
Again, it's a situation, as you said, has been ongoing for quite some time. I mean, the history in the Middle East has been of conflict. Unfortunately, we just don't know how this is going to all end. Hopefully, it will end peacefully so that we don't have to put more of our troops on the ground to take care of anything that goes on in the Middle East. And so I'm just hoping that in the end, we don't have to deploy more of our forces over there to take care of anything that, escalates.
Right. And the politicians, I think they often term it in blood and treasure, right? Yeah. And we're already sending a lot of treasure over there. We're deploying the aircraft. The Nimitz aircraft carrier group is going over there. Who knows what else is also over there already. But at the same time, I mean, this is part of the reason why Lest We Forget has events like this. Larry, tell us a little bit more.
Well, we always want to educate the public. That's our main goal, to let them know that, what we have and what the military has done for our freedoms over the years. So this year with Iraq, Afghanistan, the biggest thing you mentioned was the 7,200 people who lost their lives over there. And we're bringing in the National Gold Stars wall from Georgia, and it will display all those names on that wall.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that wall, the Gold Star wall.
It's coming in from Savannah. It's It's about 75 feet long, 8 feet high. It's an outdoor display. It has gold stars on it, and each gold star has the name of a soldier who died during those events. And you can look it up, or you can go through them and find. They're alphabetical on there, not by order of date, but so it's easy to find the name. But they also have a computer there to help you locate more information about different people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're bringing in the Michigan version of that, which is a lot smaller version. It's about 230 names that were Michigan. They're also on the national wall, but we wanted to highlight the Michigan as well. So those will both be on display all weekend, starting Friday afternoon through Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this now and probably again during the interview. Thank you both for your service. We appreciate it. And both of you were Army, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Walt Sawyer, you are a retired Army colonel, and you served in Afghanistan. You said you spent about a year there?
Mm-hmm. 0506.
0506. What was happening when you were there?
Well, again, to put it in perspective, Afghanistan was basically our secondary war. I mean, we have to remember that while we were in Afghanistan, Iraq was also, up and coming and a big event for us. And I shouldn't say event, a conflict. And, the Battle of Fallujah 1 and 2 was completed. So when we're going into Afghanistan, well, we didn't have the number of troops or the number of activities going on in Afghanistan that they were having in Iraq. But still, we had over 20,000 U.S. Military there, and we're talking all services fighting in Afghanistan. And it is still a conflict where our main mission was to go out and find the insurgents and bring them in or take them out, one of the two. And but we still did not have the main focus that they had in Iraq. In Iraq, they were going toe to toe with them every day.
Yeah.
And it was quite a conflict.
We'll come back and we'll continue this conversation in just a moment. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
We're tracking showers and storms. We've had a few of those this morning. Scattered showers and storms this morning. Better chance of severe weather and storms as we head into the afternoon. Temperatures tonight will be down to 64 with a few scattered showers, and tomorrow a slight chance of rain, otherwise partly sunny, highs back near 80. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show, 7:17 on your Wednesday morning, June 18th, and I'm pleased as punch to have in the studio this morning gentleman from Lest We Forget. Larry Wozniak is the president and retired Army captain. He's the president of Lest We Forget, and also Walt Sawyer is here, retired Army colonel. You're a member of Lest We Forget as well. Do you hold any position there?
I'm a director.
You're a director. Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. We were talking just a moment ago. Larry, maybe best to give an overview for those who might not have heard yet. What is the big event this weekend? It's happening June 21st and 22nd, Saturday and Sunday. It's called the Sandbox Wars. For anyone who may have been living in a shoebox somewhere, doesn't know what this is, what's happening?
Well, like I said, we're starting with pancake breakfast both mornings at 7 a.m. by Bruno.
But I mean, the overall event. What is it? What is it for?
What is it? Well, it's Sandbox is the Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm era. We just finished 6 weeks of classes at Lake Michigan College talking about these events. And we want the public to understand that the military did their job. And we're here to remind our people, that they are what they did.
And the reason you do that is you have a goal of preserving, promoting, and disseminating the memories of men and women who fought for the freedoms enjoyed by the citizens of the United States for the purpose of brightening the future by illuminating the past.
That's a good way of putting it, yes.
Well, I mean, you wrote it. You wrote it. So, no. I mean, and to me, that really strikes at the heart of what it is Lest We Forget is all about. Brighten the future by illuminating the past. Don't forget your history, otherwise you're doomed to repeat it, right? And so Lest We Forget, this year you're focusing. In years past, you've done reenactments. You've had the big explosions on the beach, and we've had people down there, and it's fascinating to watch and to even get a glimpse of what our military soldiers went through in wars past. This year, you're doing something a little bit different. It's the Sandbox Wars, so you're looking at 3 different conflicts, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so how will you be presenting that information?
Mostly through displays this year. There aren't any reenactors that do things like this yet. Maybe there will be in the future. but we're doing it through displays, through the Gold Star walls, through we're boats giving rides in the river, through a hands-on museum, climbing wall, all those kind of things that that will be available there, but just all through displays. And we also have a special presentation from Shoshana Johnson. She was a POW in Iraq in 2003, so she's coming in from Texas to talk about her situation.
Okay. And so now the program, it starts off Saturday morning, bright and early at 7:00.
That's correct. But pancake breakfast at 7. The activities really begin closer to 9:00 on Saturday. We have three World War II boats that are giving rides in the river. We have the displays. We have helicopter rides. We have a lot of smaller people coming in. We have the DAR, the American Revolution. We have the Gold Star Mothers coming in. We have different people who have to talk about their part of those events. So they'll all be there available to talk. And we hope that people will come out. It's going to be weather like it was in Iraq and Afghanistan. Maybe not quite as hot because it's over 100 there many times.
Yeah.
But we're going to be in the 90s, this weekend. So we're going to have that same experience that way as well. And then at 1:00 both days, Saturday and Sundays, when Shoshana Johnson will be talking about her story. And then Saturday evening, of course, is the USO show. That's 3 Men and a Tenor. Again, it's a free outdoor concert. It's going to be great weather for that, cooling down by 7:00. So we're hoping people will come out and bring their lawn chair and enjoy a fine concert.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all happening on a Saturday, and then Sunday you have that as well, right?
Right.
And it'll close up. You'll close up shop by 3 p.m. on
3
Sunday.
o'clock on Sunday.
On Sunday,
the Michigan National Guard will also be there as well, so with some displays and some recruiting advice as well. So
okay. Cost for engaging in any of these things. So I know you've got the landing craft rides. Are those are
free?
Those are free. Okay.
The only costs we have are food, and then the helicopter rides are $60 cash or a $65 credit card.
Yeah. Is there air conditioning on the helicopter?
Go open the door.
I mean, you're talking. These are going to be like actual military helicopters.
No, these are civilian helicopters.
Okay,
civilian rides, just taking rides over the beach in St. Joe.
So you'll be able to see get a different perspective. Okay, and those are $65 a piece. But the World War II landing craft rides, absolutely free. And so then you can experience a little bit about what it was like back in World War II time frame.
Definitely, they'll take you off for a nice ride on the river.
Is it a nice ride?
Oh, it is. It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. So that's happening. If you want to see the full schedule of events, you can check it out. It's at lestweforgetusa.org. But as we mentioned, and we'll talk about it again here in a moment, but as we mentioned, Lest We Forget is just that. To brighten the future, we must illuminate the past. And I asked Larry, I said, you've got the speaker series happening. You did that, 6 different
Tuesdays in a row, at the college, right? That's over now, but
and one of those individuals who presented was Walt Sawyer, right?
Correct.
And Walt, what did you, as retired Army colonel, what did you talk about? You talked about your time in Afghanistan.
And again, my 1 year in Afghanistan, I was head of logistics, and just for those who want to get an idea that is, it's basically anything that the warfighter needs. Logisticians are the ones that are provided. So that you talk about anything when it comes to supplies, transportation, maintenance. We're the ones that do all those what I call non-sexy stuff. I mean, we're the ones that make sure that they get fed and they have all the things they need to do their mission. So that was my job while I was there in Afghanistan for that.
I mean, it's really the backbone of what a soldier needs. A soldier's role in that is to fight and defend in some cases, but you can't do that if you're hungry. You can't do that if you don't have weapons or ammunition and that kind of thing. You don't have a place to sleep. So you're the guy that put it in place.
On average, it takes about 4 logisticians to support 1 ground fighter.
No kidding.
1 infantry, yeah. That's usually what it comes down to.
Was the U.S. military welcome when you were in Afghanistan? Did you feel welcome?
It depends upon where you were at. I mean, there were a lot of villages that appreciated what we were doing, only because we kept the Taliban out of the village. But there are others, you have your hardliners that they were very suspicious of us, and they probably didn't care one way or another if we were there or not. But so it really depended upon where you were.
Yeah. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, would you talk about your time in Afghanistan from day one? What were you thinking the moment you got there? And
Well,
how did you get there?
Well, again, we got there. I mean, we took a commercial flight into a neighboring country, and then took a military flight into Afghanistan. No commercial airlines flew into Bagram, and so that's how we got in there. Is we went into a country called Kyrgyzstan, and then we took military flights into all over Afghanistan. Because I mean, we had 63 forward operating bases. In other words, we were manning 63 different locations in Afghanistan when I was there, and so we had to make sure that they all got there. When the first time you go to Afghanistan, it is a rude awakening. It's kind of like the old Wizard of Oz movie when Dorothy said, "Hey, we're not in Kansas anymore."
Yeah.
You're definitely not in Kansas anymore.
That was it.
I mean, when you went out the front gate of Bagram, the air base there, you literally felt like you were back in the 5th and 6th century. I mean, it was that big of a difference.
Just from what not just the natural landscape, but like the buildings and such.
Building the people. I mean, a lot of they still moved a lot of their stuff by camel. I mean, it was so you kind of saw a different way of life. But again, that was out in the country. I mean, you get into Kabul, the capital. I mean, you had a lot of traffic, a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was like any other big city, but it was
Bad drivers, Cubs fans. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if anybody had a driver's license either or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're talking with Walt Sawyer, retired Army colonel, about some of his time in Afghanistan. Also here, Larry Wozniak, president of Lest We Forget. And they've got the Lest We Forget event coming up this weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday. And when I called Larry and said, "Hey, you mind if we do this?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm a morning person. I love doing this kind of thing."
That's right. That's right.
Larry, give people just a little bit of a sense, and we'll talk more about Walt and his time in Afghanistan in a moment. But give people a little bit of sense about the things that you wanted to get across with that 6-lecture series.
Well, we wanted to have people have a chance to hear individual stories of local veterans. And to do that, on this weekend, it's just too much going on to have people sit under a hot tent and listen to stories. Yeah. So we did it in advance. We've done it different years for different subjects over the years, but this year we had 9 different speakers over 6 weekends, 6 weeks, 6 Tuesdays in a row, and they all had great stories to tell. And right now, all those stories are on our Let's Forget YouTube page, Lest We Forget Southwest Michigan. And so anybody can go back and see all those stories that are recorded for forever. So
that's fantastic. Oh, great. Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. And thank you for putting together Lest We Forget. We've got a couple of messages to get to. We'll continue the conversation on our video live stream, and then we'll come back to the radio and talk more about Lest We Forget. Again, their event is happening this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, down on the banks of the St. Joe River, and they're highlighting the Sandbox Wars, the Gulf, the Iraq War, and Afghanistan as well. And you can pay tribute to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to our country. They have the Gold Stars Tribute Wall. They will be traveling there. The Heroes of Michigan Traveling Memorial. They also have some entertainment, and you'll have an opportunity to ride some of the World War II. What do you call them? Ducks? What are they?
We have a duck, we have a water buffalo, and we have a Higgins boat.
A water buffalo? Which one is that?
It's a track vehicle that can go into the water as well.
Okay.
It's a big tank-looking type event. So, yeah.
That is so cool. Okay. We'll talk more about this in just a few moments. It's the WSJM Morning Show. News from Bloomberg coming up next, as well as ABC. Okay, back on the video live stream. And you can't do this without sponsors, and we can mention them on the radio later on this hour, but do you want to talk a little bit about what it takes to put this together?
All of this is handled by golf people who donate and give some grants as well. This event is costing us about $48,000 this weekend, so it's half of what we spent last year for deserts for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but it's all done by sponsors and grants. And we've had some big sponsors over the years, the Upton Foundation, of course, the Shallon Foundation, DC Cook, Heart of Cook Grant, things like that, Marion Community Foundation. Those are the big ones, but over the years have always helped us. But this year, most of our money came from local donors, $1,000, $2,000, $100, $50, $25. And we all together, we've raised all the money we need for this weekend. Just about. We have a little bit short, a couple of things, but we'll have some donation cans at the event this weekend, and I'm sure that will make up the difference.
Excellent. Excellent. And again, it happens both Saturday and Sunday. There's no charge. There's no admission fee to get into any
Not
of the
at all.
events.
And parking is free.
But hey, look at that. You should come around more often. Parking is free. Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. Unless you want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to
talk about it. It's funny. Everyone I ask doesn't want to talk about the parking issue. I know. And by the way, speaking of the St. Joseph parking issue downtown, I know meetings continue to happen between the business owners and the city officials. I know both sides, they want to do what's right. And they're continuing to meet and discuss and talk about the matter. I would also say anecdotally, a lot of people tell me, and I've seen it with my own eyes, St. Joe just became bustling with people after they suspended the paid parking enforcement. Yeah, I don't know. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, I'll say that. You guys don't have to say anything. All right. We're talking with Larry Wozniak and Walt Sawyer. They're here because they have a big event this weekend, Lest We Forget. Again, Lest We Forget has a goal of preserving, promoting, and disseminating the memories of men and women who fought for the freedoms enjoyed by the citizens of the United States of America. We will continue this conversation in just a couple of moments. Right now, we're going to get the latest from Bloomberg and our folks from ABC for world and national news. We'll be right back.
And yes, they also tow cars very carefully. Hassie's Towing, the trucks with the red, white, and blue.
The Bloomberg Business Minute on WSJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. General Mills is joining Kraft Heinz in removing synthetic food dyes from its U.S. products by the end of 2027. The move will eliminate ingredients such as red 40 and yellow 5 from its brightly colored cereals like Lucky Charms and other products including Betty Crocker frosting. Hasbro is reportedly cutting about 3% of the toy maker's workforce, or fewer than 150 employees, as the company realigns its structure. Dow Jones reports that the move comes as Hasbro deals with higher costs because of tariffs. The report notes that in 2023, the toy maker slashed almost 2,000 jobs. The Fed wraps up its 2-day policy meeting today. Policymakers are expected to keep rates on hold, but may provide direction on what's coming. Fed Chair Jay Powell holds a press conference after the meeting. Futures are fluctuating this morning after stocks closed lower yesterday, with declines ranging from 0.7% to 0.9%. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:33, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning, I'm Ken Lundberg. We're still at 69 degrees in Benton Harbor and St. Joseph. The humidity still climbing up there, and we've got some hot and humid days in store. The forecast for today, partly to mostly cloudy, a big chance of showers and storms, especially this afternoon. We could have some severe storms sometime after 3 p.m. The high today is supposed to be around 83 degrees inland, a little bit cooler by the lake, but not much. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour and gusts up to 30. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, a 50% chance of showers and a few storms. Low of 64 overnight. Thursday's forecast, partly cloudy, only a slim chance of showers in the morning, and then it'll clear up, high around 80 degrees, and winds out of the north 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, high of 85, partly cloudy, only a slim chance of afternoon showers. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, it's going to be sunny, hot, and humid. The highs are going to be up in the 90s, 90 on Saturday, 93 on Sunday, 94 on Monday, and it just keeps going from there. 7:34 is the time. We've got more news from ABC. Our Michigan News Network friends are coming up next.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. Multiple sources telling ABC News President Trump has been presented a range of options by his national security team that he's considering, including using U.S. military assets to strike Iranian nuclear facilities. Iran warns that U.S. involvement could bring an all-out war in the region. Here's ABC's Perry Russell.
The New York Times reports Iran is preparing missiles for potential retaliatory attacks on U.S. bases. In the meantime, Iran firing more ballistic missiles at Israel overnight. Iran's missile stockpile may be dwindling. Some analysts estimate Tehran may have fewer than 1,000 medium-range missiles left. And Israel now says it's neutralized 1/3 of Iran's missile launchers.
The East Coast will be under a life-threatening heat wave next week, mid-90s to low 100s, and it won't cool down much overnight. A hurricane's expected to form today in the Pacific off Costa Rica, eyeing Acapulco. Eric could be the 5th named storm in a busy season. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Good morning. Some of the news that we'll bring to you at 8 o'clock this morning. Lake Michigan College will be asking voters to approve millage renewals later this year. One of those will be substantially reduced. We'll talk about that. That's coming up. Capital and operating millages. And again, one of them is going to be cut in half. So we'll talk about that at 8 o'clock. Also, Benton Harbor City officials are excited to welcome a big golf event to the community this September. They received another briefing at their regular meeting this week. They heard from Central Michigan University golf coach Kevin Jennings about the Jim DeLapa Collegiate Golf Tournament event. It's coming up at Point O'Woods Country Club, and it'll be here for the next 4 years, bringing teams in from all over the nation. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about what's happening up in South Haven. Pushback this week from a member of the South Haven City Council on how the city is moving on the question of returning lifeguards to local beaches. They're spending $45,000 on a contractor to bring in a new plan of how they can deploy the lifeguards, although one council member says they probably picked the wrong contractor. So more on that coming up at 8 o'clock. It's 7:36. We're talking about, lest we forget, they've got the Sandbox Wars event honoring all veterans coming up this weekend. We'll continue that conversation on our video live stream right now on YouTube, Facebook, and the WSJM Smart app.
The Michigan News Network.
Okay, back on the video live stream. Do you want to say who you
Sure, Laser Graphics in St. Joe has printed our T-shirt. They did our D-Day shirt as well last year.
Yeah.
And they did a fantastic job. They helped us design it a little bit. We gave them the basic ideas, and they put it all together for us.
Very nice. Yeah, very good. Laser Graphics. Okay. Larry, how long have you been involved with Lest We Forget?
I got involved at the end of 2011. That's when I retired from the hotel business.
And why did you decide to get involved with Lest We Forget and the reenactments?
Excuse me. After my time in the Army, I pretty much forgot everything. And I didn't get involved didn't join any legions, nothing like that.
Yeah.
And then I got to know Don Allsborough, who had already started Lest We Forget in 2006. And through his converged conversations and commitment to with the program, I said I can help with this.
Okay. All right. And you've been helping ever since. You're currently the president of Lest We Forget. And again, you've got the event this weekend. How long did it take you to put this event together?
We've been talking about it for about a year and a half. We've been hard work on it for the last year. And we're already working on the next couple of years, but it takes a lot of time. We have a lot of help. We have a lot of people coming down, and even at the beach at the river yesterday morning, we were there cleaning up sand and pushing dirt away and cutting bushes and making it look attractive to the crowd. Getting rid of all the stones and so people know nobody trips and falls. So it was a good day yesterday, and we had a lot of help doing that. So every time we do something, whether it's a parade, we were in 4 parades over Memorial Day weekend.
Wow.
We have parades coming up in July at the Berrien Springs Pickle Fest, the Watervliet July 4th parade. We have the Bridgman parade in the second Saturday in July. So all those things are coming up, and we always want people to come and join in our floats and be a part of our event. Our meetings are every month at the airport, the first Wednesday. So July 2nd is the next one. We start with coffee and donuts about 9:30, and we have a meeting at 10 o'clock. Usually lasts an hour and a half. Sometimes a little longer if we get a really good speaker in there. But
how's the coffee?
The coffee is great. I make it.
Oh, wait a sec. Let me ask that again. Walt, how's the coffee?
Hey, he makes it. It's okay.
No, that's and anyone can join Lest We Forget.
Anybody, yes. Whether you're a veteran or not, that's not the issue. The issue is to want to promote the work of our veterans and our military. So
for the event this weekend, where do people go? Where is kind of that collection point? Where do you want them to go?
If you're coming from downtown St. Joe, the ramp going down to the Harbor Shores Hotel, the Inn at Harbor Shores, goes down to Whitwam Drive. The hotel will be on the left, and we're in the grassy field. The hotel's on the right, excuse me, and we're in the grassy field on the left. There'll be 150 flags out there marking the entranceway, and the parking is right there in the grass. Everything takes place right there along the river.
Okay, so kind of where the old water tower side is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so you're staging there, and it's going to be informational, but that's where the duck and the water buffalo and everything will be, right?
Yeah, and the hands-on museum, the World War, it's mostly World War II Korea type things they have, but kids can actually put on a flap jacket, climb into a tank, get into into a Jeep. You know, it's not just look at it and don't touch. It's get in there and check it out all the way around.
That's really
pick
cool.
up a machine gun, see how heavy it is.
Oh my gosh, really?
Those kind of thing. Everything is there. They do a fantastic job, and they love people, especially the kids, to come by and see what's going on there.
That's great. That's great. Walt, talking a little bit more, if we can, about your time in Afghanistan. Did you ever see anything that made you concerned?
Oh, I mean, good question, but I mean, everything over there makes you concerned. I mean, again, you don't know what you can get into around every corner. When I was there in 05, 06, we had, that was only like about 3 years since we had been in Afghanistan. And so, when you're on Bagram, Bagram Airfield was heavily mined by the Russians when they left. And so we were trying to clear out all those mines. And I remember one of the things that they used to tell us, in the military, we have this thing called police call, which is basically everybody lines up and they pick up all the trash on the road or down a particular area and what have you. Over there, this is the first time I ever saw where, we didn't do police call. They had a saying that basically said that if you didn't drop it, don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Only because
it could be a bomb.
It could be one of these unexploded, mines that they dropped on Bagram on the way out. And so it was a constant mission for us was to clear mine clearing, and we had to do a lot of mine clearing on Bagram. And again, we still had about a good 35% of Bagram Airfield was still had mines, active mines on it. When we moved around it, we worked around those things, but it was a daily mission out there clearing those mines.
Yeah. Looking at what has transpired since your time in Afghanistan to when you saw some of the planes leaving, what are your thoughts?
Well, again, it's it makes you wonder, why were you really there? I mean, since we went in there to fight the Taliban, and now the Taliban is taking back over. It's kind of like, why?
Yeah.
And so that's.
Yeah. Because, again, blood and treasure.
Yeah.
Of American men and women. Well, we thank you for your service in there. And when you think about what's happening in Iran right now, what goes through your mind? Iran and Israel, I should say.
And, hopefully something tragic doesn't happen. Again, I feel for right now that there's about over 20,000 U.S. service members serving in the Middle East right now, different bases and what have you. We have a large naval base in the Middle East. We have Marines, we have Air Force bases and what have you. So they're within what they call the collateral damage of anything that might happen. They could be part of a collateral damage strike. And again, you think about those men and women that are out there right now serving that are not even close to this, but could become part of it very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Walt Sawyer, retired Army colonel, and Larry Wozniak, president and former Army captain, president of Lest We Forget. And they have their big event going on this weekend, the Sandbox Wars, Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Gulf Wars. And you can enjoy their events, the informational events that they have. And I'm just looking at this. You've got the Space Force on here. Why did you decide to put Space Force on there, Larry?
Actually, Walt suggested that, but we wanted to include all the services because we didn't want someone to say, "Oh, we're not part of the military." We are everybody's part.
Okay,
we're looking at that time frame. Again, the Space Force came into being in 2019. We left Afghanistan in 2021. So
very good point.
The Air Force, the
Space Force was there.
Was part of the team.
1 second, please. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. 744, coming back by the skin of our teeth because we were having a good conversation on the video live stream with Lest We Forget. We're talking with Larry Wozniak, president and former Army captain, and Walt Sawyer, retired Army colonel. And they brought me a T-shirt. Thank you for the T-shirt. I love this. And on there is Space Force. And it's hard to believe or hard to imagine. When we went into Afghanistan, where you were, Walt, for a year, Space Force wasn't even an idea. And by the time we left Afghanistan, they had already been in place for what, 2 years?
2 years. Yeah.
2 years. That's amazing. So all the different military branches are represented here, and honestly, before that, Space Force, the people that are in Space Force now, they were represented kind of in the other military branches, just doing some of those
mainly
things.
the Air Force.
The Air Force, yeah. Okay. Is it true that the Army has more boats than the Air Force? Or I'm sorry, more boats than the Navy?
That's
more ships.
That's what I've been told. I mean, I know that a couple of naval bases that I've been on, I look over in the other corner and I say, "Hey, who does all that belong to?" And it says right on it, U.S. Army.
Really?
You know, the U.S. Army also has trains and does railroad work.
You have trains?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They actually have at their transportation school. They teach about trains and what have you.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it goes way back to the Civil War. We used trains in the Civil War to move troops and what have you. And we now, granted, there's not a whole bunch of guys that do that. A lot of it's civilian work, but I mean, we still maintain that.
I guess it depends on the field of war as well. What you're going to be coming up against, and what you're able to capture and repurpose and utilize while you're there.
Sure.
All right. Lest we forget, the event's happening this weekend, and we were talking on the video live stream. I think we should repeat it, though. Where is the center of the events, Larry, this weekend, and how can people know that they're getting on the right track?
The physical address is 275 Upton Drive, but it's the grassy field, often used by PGA for parking over the last several years.
Yep.
And it's right west of the Inn at Harbor Shores Hotel on Whitwam Drive.
Okay. So if you're heading out of St. Joseph, and before you cross the bridge, you take the little off ramp. Instead of turning toward the Inn at Harbor Shores, you take a left, and that's where you're staging.
Right there.
You
right
can't
there.
miss it.
Okay. Free parking, free admission, free information, all that other kind of good stuff. Okay. Why don't we make this part of our Moody on the Market update? Our Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service, IMS. They have offices in St. Joseph and in Niles. And one of the reasons that we talk about Moody on the Market update is because we want to bring to you those stories that talk about life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here. And Lest We Forget is a staple of Southwest Michigan, and we appreciate what you do. So thank you, Larry. We appreciate everything that Lest We Forget does. Walt as well. Again, the whole mission is to brighten the future by illuminating the past, and you do that year in and year out. And this year you're talking about the Sandbox Wars, and that event is happening all day Saturday, all day, well, most of the day on Sunday as well. But you'll start off with a pancake breakfast at 7 a.m. bright and early on Saturday. Who's welcome to that, and how does that work?
Again, everybody's welcome to that. We hope some of our volunteers will be there early, get breakfast, but we want the public to come out and enjoy a good time. And of course, the Gold Stars wall will be set up Friday afternoon and available early in the morning for viewing as well. So,
and how many volunteers do you have working on this?
This year, we're about 65 volunteers on the list.
Okay,
and we have mostly 2 shifts per day, Saturday and Sunday. And then we have a few extra people working Saturday evening during the concert. The 3 Men and a Tenor starting at 7.
Okay. And what do you want people to take away from this event? What do you want them to know?
I think it's important that people realize, that we have freedoms in this country, and they are because of our military, and we need to share those stories with people. Shoshana Johnson was there in Iraq. She's going to have a great story to tell at 1:00 both days. She's been here before. We had a theme, Women in the Service, 3 years ago, and she addressed an audience at Lake Michigan College. But this time she'll be talking to everybody on the site that we're at on Saturday and Sunday. So we're glad to have her come in. And then we also are, we're talking about this year, but we're also working on the next 2 years. Next year is the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of the Constitution.
Okay.
And we're hoping to highlight the Revolutionary War next year. And the following year, we're working with the Pokagons and other groups about how the Native Americans were involved in our military. So we don't stop with this. We are continuing on.
Love that. And anyone can get involved with Lest We Forget. Just go to their website, lestweforgetusa.org. And you have information posted there about your meetings and how to get involved.
We definitely do. Yep, everything's there. The scheduled events for this weekend especially is there, but everything what you need to know is going to be there.
I love it. And the cost is right. I mean, the price is right for this weekend's events because it's free.
It's free. We rely on donations and grants, and we want everybody to come out and see what's going on.
Okay, very good. Lest We Forget is happening this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It starts off with a pancake breakfast at 7:00 on Saturday, and then it goes to the Gold Star Tribute Wall Heroes of Michigan Traveling Wall, the World War II landing craft rides. There are helicopter rides. That's the only thing that has a cost to it. Do they take off from the airport then?
No, everything's right there on
No
site.
kidding.
Right
You got
there.
the helicopters
Right
down there too.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hold on to your hats.
Nope.
Okay. And that's that's a helicopter ride for $65, which is a pretty good deal because you get a nice view of the
Absolutely.
of the
Bring your
lake shore
camera.
there. Yeah, absolutely. All right. 20th century war displays, climbing wall, food vendors. What kind of food you going to have down there?
We have pancake breakfast in the morning, and then Woodstock and Grill. I gotta say it right. We'll be there both afternoons,
Okay.
selling all their barbecue stuff.
Oh,
hamburgers.
nice. Vegetarian option.
I'm not sure about that, but we've got a lot of grass in the field there. So.
I love it. That's part of your Moody on the Market update for this morning. We'll be back in just a moment. Moody on the Market update brought to you by Insurance Management Service with offices in St. Joseph and in Niles. Back in just a moment with more.
Insurance Management Service, your local auto owner's insurance.
When you said the Woodstock barbecue grill, I just had to, vegetarian option. We can have or we can have a pescatarian option. We can have a fish burger. That'd be good.
Yeah, it would work. Yeah,
Let's talk to him.
That noon is when the fishermen, the veterans are going on their fishing trip that morning.
Really?
So at noon they come back up the river with a big parade. So it'll be going right past our event down there. So
Okay. You also have Maureen Adams down there from the Berrien County Veteran
she has a booth
Services
there
office.
as well, yep.
Yeah.
Even Fifth Third Bank has a booth down there. So
Very nice. Very nice.
tell me what veterans could do with their mortgages and things like that. So
Yeah, and Maureen Adams, because she's involved with the station on a few different things, but the Berrien County Veteran Services Office, I love what they do because they seem like. Would you agree? I mean, they seem to be a liaison between veterans benefits, the VA, and the veterans. They're kind of the people who say, okay, I know the VA is a pain to work with, but here's how we do it. Here's how it's done, and they can get you help. Has that been your experience?
she had a stand down a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Over 200 veterans were there with 50 different opportunities to talk to people about how they can get help.
Yeah.
And a lot of freebies too.
Oh, nice.
So-
That's very good. All right. What else are you working on? What do you do when you're not doing this, Larry?
We just finished our family reunions. We had
That's right.
We had a medieval theme this past weekend.
How was it?
And I was the executioner. So
Why didn't you wear that outfit in here? Was it good? Was everything good?
We had a great time. Yep. We did jousting. We had a maypole. I've never seen a maypole in operation, and it really turned out well.
Did it?
We had 8 dancers with ribbons around the light pole outside the parking lot, and we got some great video of that. That was pretty cool.
Did you have medieval music happening?
We had a little bit of that going on during the maypole.
Little Iron Maiden, that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff like that going on. But and we had all hands only food. They didn't have silverware back then, so everything. We had barbecue ribs over our fingers, and chicken wings, chicken legs, and all kind of fruits and cakes and breads, and it was interesting.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, Larry, you got pictures of all that?
I do. Actually, I should have brought them in. They're out in the car.
No, that's great. A medieval family reunion. When's the next family reunion?
Next one is going to be the 90s next year, and then the year after that is Toga Party.
Oh, Lord.
We better call the law enforcement. Okay. That does sound like fun. All right. We've got to get back to the radio program here. We'll wrap it up. I'll ask you, Larry, once again to give an overview of the event, invite people down, thank anybody that you want to thank, and then we can talk about anything else. Walt, is there anything else that you want to share?
No, again, right now, can't think of anything. Hopefully everybody will make time to come down and visit with us this weekend, and we look forward to it. I mean, the weather will be great.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I can't push enough that we got free parking, so please come on down.
Do either of you do the reenactments regularly outside of the Lest We Forget events?
You mean involved in the reenactments?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
That's all professional groups that do that, basically. Yeah.
Okay. But none this year because you're doing a different theme. But maybe next year.
Yeah, the closest we have this year is the Michigan National Guard. We'll have some vehicles there and some equipment, but to kind of show the things that were used during the Afghanistan era.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. We've got news coming up from ABC, our local news, sports, weather, and a whole lot more. We'll conclude this interview. It's Lest We Forget, the Sandbox Wars. Their event is Saturday and Sunday this week. Back in just a moment.
And they don't cut corners. Trust the people that care, who know how to do it right the first time. All you need to do is work with McGee's once to see the difference, and they'll be the first call every time. Feel at ease with McGee's. Call today for your estimate. Feel at ease with McGee's. Southwest Michigan's Bryant dealer.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:55 on your Wednesday morning, June 18th. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Our guests this hour have been from Lest We Forget. Larry Wozniak is the president and former Army captain. And also Walt Sawyer is a director with Lest We Forget and a retired Army colonel. And they've been putting up with me and my vegetarian jokes all hour long. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You're just
Ken.
staring at me blankly.
We
That's
have,
fine.
we have a sales table at the event as well with our T-shirts, and we also have 7 books. We've collected stories of veterans in our area, and all those books will be available for the public. A lot of other little knick-knack things as well.
Yeah.
We also have a root beer float station, which is just by donation only.
You've been
and
withholding.
that'll be going on all day long.
A root beer float station? That's fantastic. Whose idea was that?
We've been doing that for years.
Okay.
It actually started with one of our Korean veterans, Gus Santan, was doing that with the American Legion for a while, and he said, we need to have it here. So about 10 years ago, we had our first root beer float station. Pepsi donates the root beer, and we get the ice cream, and we have people making floats all day.
That's fantastic.
90-degree weather, it's not very good weather for root beer floats, but we'll make it happen.
No, that's perfect weather because you drink it faster, cool down. No, that's really good. The Lest We Forget organization, according to what your mission is to brighten the future by illuminating the past. And so that's what your event is all about this weekend, and it's focused on the Sandbox Wars. Again, it couldn't come at a more poignant time as we think about what's going on with the U.S. and Israel and Iran. But this weekend, you're focusing on information and bringing the stories to life of folks who were in the Gulf War, in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Walt, thank you very much for your service in Afghanistan. And you know, as we think about that going forward, the stories are those things that really bring the cost of war to life. And you mentioned the books, Larry. Talk again about the stories that you've collected and how people can get those.
We've got 7 books, like I said. They're all about 80 to 90 stories per book. Some are shorter, some a little bit longer, but everybody who has served has a story to tell, and we're trying to collect those and preserve them for history. So those books will be available on site. We also are collecting people who want to give their story in book 8. So we're working on that right now.
Book 8.
Book 8 will be coming up next, and we want their stories.
Okay, very good. It covers how far back?
Anything. Well, we've got Civil War up through current day stories in all of our books. So anything, any era is fine.
Okay.
So
is everyone from Southwest Michigan that's in the books?
90%.
Okay.
There are a few others that are not. We have stories from families who have relatives outside the area put in there. We also have Bob Heff's story. He was the one who designed our current American flag. That story's in there. Okay. We have Frank Buckles, who was the last surviving World War I veteran. He lived in Virginia. His story's in there as well. So
okay, very good. If you want more information on the books, on the Lest We Forget event this weekend called Sandbox Wars, or just getting involved in anything and everything that they do for Lest We Forget, go to their website. It's at lestweforgetusa.org, and you can also get the schedule of events for the Sandbox Wars event that's happening this weekend. And if you want to plug it into your GPS, 275 Upton Drive.
That's right.
Right? And parking's free. It's right there on the banks of St. Joseph River. No admission charge either. And really, it's just all about sharing the stories and sharing perspectives from the Sandbox Wars. Gentlemen,
thank you, Ken.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. Appreciate your service. Appreciate what you're bringing to light here. Anything else that we need to mention in 10 seconds?
No, I think we're good. Just come on out. Whether you got an hour or you got all day, we'll be there.
All right.
Come and see us.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you. And we've got more coming up in just a moment from ABC, our world and national news. Forecast for today If you want to know the truth, it's going to get a little bit yucky this afternoon. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, a 70% chance of showers and storms. Severe storms are possible this afternoon, sometime after 3 o'clock. High today around 83, maybe a little cooler by the lakeshore, but it's still going to be humid all over the place. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, a 50% chance of showers and storms hanging on, low around 64 overnight. And then tomorrow, Thursday, partly cloudy, a 20% chance of morning showers, a high around 80. As we get to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're looking at temperatures probably in the upper 80s and definitely in the lower 90s the longer we go. Tigers beat the Pirates last night 7-3. Tonight's game is at 6:40. You can hear it here on WSJM. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. It's a huge decision for President Trump. Multiple sources telling ABC News.